Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Charlie Duckett and I'll be your host for today's session. So thanks so much for joining us this morning. This is our fourth webinar in this AI series. So we're delighted to welcome back our expert speaker, Kieran Connolly from Profile Tree. This series complements our new AI tourism e-learning modules as well, which you'll find on my Tourism NI platform. So over the next hour or so, Kieran will share updates from the AI sector, all tailored for the hospitality and tourism sector. So if you do have any questions at any point, you just pop them into the question box and we'll do our best to get through them at the end with our live Q&A with Kieran. So I won't delay it anymore. Let's get into the good stuff. It's my pleasure to introduce Kieran for today's session. So good morning, Kieran. Over to you.
So welcome to today's session, and our quick plan for the session to get through everything is, first off, we're going to have a look at why accessibility matters, what's the main focus, and then we'll spend 2 or 3 minutes on that at the start of our workshop. Then we'll go and have a look at the AI tools that will help us with key elements of accessibility within our business. But before we start, I just want to highlight that you can go into My Tourism NI and sign up if not already. And we do have an AI with accessibility module in here with extra videos. And this will have content in it that we will not cover within this webinar today. So again, if you really want to dive deep into this topic, then that'll be a really good way to do that, is to go into the My Tourism NI portal, go to the AI for accessibility course and go through the modules there, and obviously supplement with what we're going to cover today. So just to get started, obviously we're going to be focused on practical guidance and examples from using AI around different parts of the business, which will support accessibility in our digital business. And it's not to focus on the legal side, or it's not to give deep specialist advice on accessibility. For that, obviously, it's a big topic and it influences so many different parts of the business. There is some incredible accessibility specialists in the local market who will be able to go in and advise you on all aspects of accessibility across your business, and they'd be really good people to reach out to and connect with. Or again, there might be areas that you need some legal advice in. So again, what we're going to cover today is not supplementing any of that. It's more focused on just practical guidance and just examples of how you can use AI in this area. And as I say, it is a very deep, wide area that impacts a lot of our whole business operation. So definitely getting special advice is a good way to move forward. And how we're going to approach it today, as I say, we're going to spend a few minutes and dive into why accessibility matters today. So we do have legal requirements around accessibility, and that applies to all aspects of our business, and not just the business side of things or the digital side of things. It doesn't matter, digital or online or offline, it's all treated the exact same. The law is consistent if we, depending on where we sell or how we market or how we deliver our services, all of these laws do apply to what we're doing. So again, just to run through some, I know everyone know it, is obviously we've got the Disability Discrimination Act in 1995, and that requires reasonable adjustments for disabled users, and that includes digital services. Then we have the UK-wide law, which is the Equality Act 2010, and that puts a duty on service providers to ensure that disabled people aren't placed at a disadvantage when they're experiencing what you offer. We also then have, and we jump down here, we also have the European Accessibility Act, or EAA, and that came into force in June 28th, 2025, so not that long ago. And it does actually cover websites, mobile apps, and digital services. And this is important because if you sell into the EU member states or you take bookings from EU customers, then the EAA rules and regulations apply to you. And I guess that would be for most of us. We're all targeting EU customers, Ireland and mainland Europe. So this is important to know. And then we do have one more, of course, which is the American Disability Act, the ADA. And it thankfully follows a lot of the standards that are set between these other acts that we're looking at. So there is consistent guidelines between them all, which we're going to have a look at in the next section. And that is the WCAG. So this is the fun bit. So we get into the tools now in a second. So WCAG stands for Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. So it's a global standard for making websites work for disabled people. And this is what we mean is that it's seen as the de facto standard, whether you're in the UK, Europe, or more and more in the US now as well. So which is good. It takes a little bit of burden off us, and it makes it a little bit easier to take into account all of these jurisdictions that we might be selling into. And again, if we're to take away one thing from this is, again, if our website has been used by people to find us, to read about us, to understand what we offer, to book with us, it needs to be accessible in that market. And it's not only is a legal requirement, but it's also best practice, which we lean into as well in a second. So the current version of WCAG is 2.2, and that became standard in October 23, and it superseded the version 2.1. There won't be a version 2.3, but there will be a version 3, so WCAG 3, and that's been worked on at the moment, but we'll probably not see that for many years ahead. And again, that's going to raise the standard again. And you see the standard levels here as well, and we look at this map. We've got A is the bare minimum. Double A, where we are at the moment, that is basically the mid-level, and that's the standard that most laws will reference, and it's really what we should be aiming for as businesses. And then, of course, we've got AAA, the highest level. That's something that over time businesses will be working towards. So that's important to know, is that we're looking for the mid-level, so not gold standard just yet. And again, thankfully, it's what the UK, EU, and most international markets accept as the benchmark. So that's important to know as well. With 2.2, what changed in 2.2? What was updated? So there's a big focus on appearance of digital properties. So again, making it visually clear where you are on the page when you're navigating, not using a mouse, but using a keyboard. So that is important. There's been changes for drag and drop. So we've got drag and drop there. So where you would have seen just maybe Dropbox and these platforms looking for drag and drop, now they have to give an option of upload a file as well. So again, you can click as opposed to having to drag and drop, because obviously that wasn't inclusive for everyone. And that would impact maybe calendars as well, where there was a dragging option too. There's another change around CAPTCHAs and how we sign in to platforms. So again, there tend to be a lot of memory tests and CAPTCHAs. So again, there's a movement to look at that and to make it more inclusive and accessible for everyone. So again, back to what we're talking about, is accessibility coming into everywhere, because obviously that's impacting security of platforms as well. So you can see how accessibility touches every part of the business, and rightly so. And that is a very relevant. Signing in and having an account is very important for people with a booking system. So again, that would be, a lot of people here would have a booking system. So there's going to be more changes as we move forward, as technology gets better and how we deal and work with these things. So there is an interesting with all this, and we said that's the legal requirement side of things, but there is also a business requirement for this. And what we've seen is that accessibility isn't just about compliance. It directly impacts how people find us online as well. And I've got a really good screenshot here. I think it tells a lot of where we are in the market at the moment, is that the search engines have been for a little while. They've been leaning into these accessibility features. And you can see here, I think this headline's perfect. It couldn't be any better. Accessibility is the new SEO. And what we're seeing, so you think of the speed of a website or web page, but also how usable and usability tests, how easy it is to navigate. All of these key things are ironically also things that improve our ranking in search engines. So we hit one, we hit two, so it's a double win for us in that one, which is really interesting. So again, we think of page speed, mobile responsiveness. Have we got really good heading structures on our page? Have we got descriptive link text? So again, when we're linking to another page, do we actually say what it is instead of click here? Do we have alt image text? And is the code optimized and clean so it loads fast? And most people here will know, and I talk about this a lot, is that we have the core updates that come out every year from Google. We tend to have 2 to 3 year. Used to be 2. Last year was 3. So again, you can see here 2025. And this link is in the document that will go alongside with this video. So you can click and have a look at this, or just Google core updates and you'll be able to click and see this. So what we have is these core updates. That's where your whole website is regraded, and every website on the internet is regraded as far as we know. And you tend to have a big jump in a core update, and in between core updates, the changes that you can achieve are quite small. So the core updates are a major event in your ranking and visibility. So basically the search engines come in and change their ranking system. So they're very focused on making changes, improving the experience. So this year we expect it again. It's due in March, so we're waiting for it. So this February update's already happened, but we're waiting for the core update next month. So again, it's a great time to have a look at some of these things that we're talking about today and see if you get them tweaked and fixed before the next update that might happen, as I say, any time in March, and then that'll run for 10, 15, 20, 30 days as Google readjusts and rolls out new requirements for us all to rank and be seen higher in the search engine. So again, if you're taking the visibility option, you might be improving your actual core visibility in the ranking system as well. So that's a bit of a win. So again, yeah, so we fix one, we're often fixing the other as well. So, and it does, we're always asked about AI and visibility about AI search engines. So it does also, it's not just Google, we're talking about Google, but it will impact obviously AI overviews from Google, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. All your ranking and visibility and all of those would benefit from accessible, well-structured websites and well-structured digital marketing content that you're publishing online. So all of that will benefit from that. So it's the same things. It's clear headings, descriptive text, properly labeled content, all make it easier for AI systems to understand what your business offers and then to recommend it. And we definitely need to remember that, of course, in the statistics that we see, that travel and tourism, hospitality is one of the highest use sectors for these AI tools to make commercial decisions. So people are using these AI tools to plan trips, to find attractions, to compare options. So again, it all impacts all part of their business. So again, it's amazing to think back to the accessibility when we started. It really does impact and touch all parts of our business. So again, as we're saying, is if your website, we're talking about website, we're talking about digital marketing as well. If your website is accessible, well structured, you're not just winning from new visitors who have disabilities, you're also becoming more visible to the AI tools and search engines that help people plan their trips. So again, as I say, it's all that double win, which again makes it a no-brainer to focus on. Very quick one, just slight segue, is that we've often been asked in these sessions about an AI presentation tool. So just to show you one here, and we have our presentation on AI accessibility. This tool is called Gamma. So Gamma AI or Gamma presentation app. And again, does have a free account. It's definitely one of the best presentation tools out there, and you can do free presentations. So this is one that is totally free, and I put in my little prompt around AI and accessibility, and the content come back. So just to quickly walk through this as a segue and go back into the presentation. So you can see here is the homepage, and again, I'm going to use my accessibility features, which is the keyboard. And you can see again that the content and the layout. So it did all of this in about 10 seconds. And I just put in maybe 5 lines of text and it threw all of this. So again, but the content, the output is really good. So again, you can see here, what's the benefit of focusing on accessibility if we're talking about a website. Again, we can see visitors with screen readers will be able to use it better, limited mobility, color blindness. And again, when you look at all of these things, older people as well, when we look at all of these things, it's amazing the number of people actually have some of these little things to deal with in their life. So if we can make it easier for them, it's only a good thing. Again, beautiful picture, design and everything else. And again, it's focused on what we need to deliver for our customers. So again, visual accessibility, ease to use to get around what we're offering them or to understand it, and then content clarity. And that does roll into not only the website but the digital marketing side of things as well. Any of your marketing collateral that you're making, is it clear to the person who's reading it? And we need to think about that, because obviously, again, with that, we're obviously operating in travel and tourism. A lot of our customers may not be native English speakers, and we'll have a look and talk about that as we go through this as well. The reason we use AI is a big effort to help us save time and costs and help us understand this. So it's quite complex. All of these new things, we all have our own jobs to do, and thankfully AI is there to help us understand this. So that's a good. The cavalry's coming, and it will help us reduce our workload. Again, historically, a lot of this had to be done manually, and I'll show you some examples of that. But now, today, we can have AI do automated testing. It can do instant fixes, and it can monitor our website, if we're talking about a website again as an example, going forward. So the cost benefits are, to be honest, are self-explanatory. So again, the audit, or I would say again, the manual accessibility audits were pretty expensive to do in the past to cover all aspects of your digital operation. But now with these tools, you can really reduce the cost. You have an option of maybe even doing it where you couldn't have done it before, and you can avoid, not following the guidance from all of these legal acts that have been presented in front of us. So again, how do we move towards it? So again, it's saying that we should assess where we are, find the quick wins, and that's what we're going to have a look at today. Then action some of those fixes, and then just keep making that continuous improvement. And again, one thing we've noticed is that the documentation says reasonable adjustments. So again, if you're a small business, a solopreneur, a one-person business, obviously the expectation on you compared to maybe a business with 200 people and 6 sites is totally different. So again, it's all about what's reasonable and expected from you within your business. Because if you were to fix everything that was, to make your, say, a website to gold standard and accessibility, it could cost tens of thousands of pounds. But making sure that you've ticked off maybe some of those really major things and quick wins that will have a major impact on most people's usability of that will be enough. And again, that's where you would need to get the guidance on, just to be sure. But obviously it does say in the documentation about reasonable efforts, basically, to continue, and continuous improvement that you're working toward it. We've got our 3 levels that we looked at here. And then we've got our roadmap to inclusive tourism. And again, this was all done with this AI presentation app. So it's very, very, very smart. So very happy with that. Again, want to add to your arsenal, add into your book of tools. So we want to talk about accessibility statements now. So this is one of the things that you should have on your page. So an accessibility statement, and that is required. So again, when we look at, best practice, what should we have? What's phase 1? So we should have an accessibility statement for our business. And what they do say in all these standards is we should actually have it as a separate page within our business. So again, some people get back to budget, skill level. You can actually, and again, the EAA does say that you can have it on a public facing document, basically to sit within your terms and conditions or equivalent document. So they're calling pages documents. So you can actually have that in your terms and condition page. So it's basically an accessibility statement, ideally as a standalone page, but if not, in your terms and conditions. And that should be explaining what your commitment is to accessibility, what standards you're working towards, what you've done, if you've any known issues, and then how to contact you, and of course when you last updated the page. So all of that is important. That's the key things to have within an accessibility statement. And we'll have a quick look. And what you can do at this, again, if you've got an AI tool like ChatGPT or Claude, you've got a project set up around your business, then you could ask it to draft an accessibility statement for you, and obviously tell it that you want to follow the WCAG and to make sure that everything is included within that. So again, a good prompt, no lazy prompts. And then you want to review it, make sure it's accurate, and then you could publish that on your website. But remember, of course, as I said at the start, is any legal statements should be checked, obviously, by an expert before you push them live. But you definitely can get a draft done very quickly with this. And let's have a quick look. So again, if I go here and I've typed in Hotel Paris, I'm just going down by the ads, and we go and look. There we go. Often on this site here, never booked, but often visiting. So again, just looking here, and if I go down to the bottom of the page, we see our accessibility statement here. So it does have it in the footer of the page, and I can click on this, and then we can see. And you can see here, you're thinking accessibility, oh, it's another thing to do. But what you're finding here is that it's not actually that big a piece of work. It doesn't have a lot of detail in it. It is quite short. So again, it's covering all of those things that we talked about. So it's explaining your commitment towards the accessibility, what standard you're working towards. So again, you can see, so 2.1 was the old one, 2.2 is a new one, that they're the latest one, that they're being very clear that they're working towards both of these, and there's different levels in each of them. So they're being very, very transparent that they're working towards them. And again, they haven't listed any issues that I can see, and they have got the contact if you've got any feedback or questions on that. And the only thing I think they're missing is they don't have a date on that saying when they updated this last. So again, you can see it's not a major piece of work, something that all of us can do and make sure we get onto our website. So jumping into some tools, this is a really good tool. I'd recommend that everyone can try it out, and we would use it quite a bit. So Silk Tide, it's a free browser plugin, and it will work on whatever browser you're using. So Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Edge. You just hit install it, and again, the link to this is within the document, and you'll land on a page like this, and you'll be able to install it onto your device. And then when you've it installed, what it does, it'll give you a little pop-up on your side of your screen. So it'll appear here now any second. I might have to just do a little refresh, and we should have an S appear here. There we go. And here's popping out now. So all I do is I can click on it, and then it's going to pop out, and it's going to start auditing this page here for me against all of the key accessibility requirements. So again, it does all of this, and it does it in a great way. So it's going to look at all text. So do we have descriptive text in all of our images? It'll tell us which ones do and don't. It will look at the color contrast on the website. So do we have colors beside each other which are hard to read? Colors in the background, again, for people who have visual problems. It'll look at our heading structure. Is it aligned and in the right structure that's easy for someone to follow and get through the page? It would look and simulate different areas of visual impairment as well. So it's going to give us a full report now in a sec. And what you do here is you'd focus on if there's any errors or major red, you try and get them fixed. If you do have the budget and ability to do that now, maybe you might be going back to your web company. I would say you don't have to try and fix everything at once. It's just prioritize a couple of key pages. Think of the most important page on your website. It's going to be the home page, your booking page, your contact page, the service page. Is it do you have a room or a property to rent? Then those pages, or is it a service? So just making sure those pages are working in a good shape, then that would be really good. So what you can do then, as I say, you'll run this tool and you'll see the output from it, and then you'll be able to either take screenshots and send to your developer, or maybe if you're technical, you'd be able to make those changes yourself. So here is the report, and I will be able to, so again, I can go into color contrast and it tells me a pass, which is great. We can go into all text and it goes through all, you can see here, go through all of the images, and it's highlighted, okay, this one here is decorative, it should be changed. So it's a purple, not great, but the rest of them do all have all text on them, which is great. They all have all text, but that one is not a good one to have here. So again, you can see, and then they're highlighted throughout the page. So again, we could just double check them as we go through. So again, let's look at all text. You can see it pops up there, and you can see it's a phone and computers display a website for Derry Halloween promoting Europe. So again, you can see the all text from the date, bold orange and black background or black colors. So you can see it does go into details, and here's more here. So you can see how that works. So that's so if someone can't see the image, then they can have that either read the text or have the text read to them. Screen readers again, there we go. So it's going to read that to us. Focus, so how someone goes through the website. So they tend to, and this is down to someone going through it without a mouse. So they're going to tab through the page. So again, this is the path that they would follow if they're going to do that. So again, does it look good? And again, that's checking that for us. So again, it's a really important test. This is very important on booking pages. So again, you want to make sure that someone's able to book without using a mouse, for example. And you can see, okay, it's a long journey, but you can get through the page. So we've passed on that. Again, headlines, we can see then, have we got H1? So we've got a H1, it's here, and it's all color coded. So we've got a H2s and H3s, and we can go through. So you can see again the detail. This is doing all of this for us, and it's totally free. Absolutely amazing. So really, really powerful tool. We love it. And again, you don't have to get everything perfect. It's continuous improvement and trying to get to that gold standard as soon as you can within your business, with all things considered. So you might, when you look at this, if you have a very old site, you might have a lot of things to change, and that's okay. It's just putting a plan in place and starting working towards it. That's what we want to do, and hitting those. And this does put the things into color, again, back to red if it's a real problem, and it goes down that way. So again, you can see here, so we have a problem here in our skip content button. So it's not working, or something's happened that, when the code updates. So that's a little button that goes up here. We can skip the content. So again, we need to get that sorted, and you can see here some things that we can improve. And again, it's continuous improvement. So there's always steps to be working towards in all of this. And as the standards change and the requirements improve, and technology gets maybe easier to implement some of this as well. So these tools do help no end, because again, we would have seen back 2 or 3 years ago, again, you'd have to do an accessibility audit, and that's a major piece of work where a person would have had to go through and test loads of things. Now, with these kind of tools, we can actually do that ourselves. So really good to see. So test that out in your own site and see, get your own report, and then you can create a list of things that you want to work through, and that'll help you improve the accessibility of your own website, but also, as we mentioned, back to the SEO elements as well. So that's the general site, and that's a good audit tool. But one of the key areas, and the key areas we want to look at, is obviously images. Images is a big part. Media is a big part of accessibility, and how do we improve it? So here we've got a few tools on how we can actually take images and add alt text to them. So without alt text on an image, a screen reader would just say image, and it basically tells the user nothing. So if you've got a very image heavy page, and we might have that in hospitality and tourism, then someone reading those or looking at those images, they're just going to see image, 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 and that's not really a good user experience at all. Also, as we mentioned, the double whammy, alt text helps the search engine understand what your images are. So there's a SEO benefit to it as well. So there's a double win there, as we know. So a couple of tools here. So here's one here, and again, all the links are in the sheet that you can look at. So here you can bulk upload loads of images and then download them and then upload them into your website. So that's a manual way to do that. I would also suggest that you reach out to your web company and ask them what options do they have on their platform for adding alt text. Is there an AI option or automatic option to add this? Again, a year and a half ago, this wasn't an option, didn't exist, and now we can, and it's pretty common, and it's a great time saver, because most websites will have hundreds if not thousands of photos and images, especially in hospitality and tourism, and having really good alt text will help the SEO and the user experience. Is a big tick for that accessibility. So there's loads of tools. I say this one's here, and there's again, that's another option here. You just upload your images, or if you've got a page, put them in here, and it will find them and optimize them for you, give you the alt text back. And if you've a small site, say less than 50 pages, you could use these free tools and just make sure that all of your images are optimized. So again, here's another free AI image optimizer and another free AI image optimizer here. So alt text .ai is probably one of the biggest ones in the market that we know of, and it would fit onto every single platform that's out there. Most of the platforms, I know there's some custom booking engines and platforms that you should reach out to the supplier directly and just see what their options are. And these platforms will monitor. They'll be added to your website, and they will update all of the alt text and all of your images, and then they'll monitor it as it goes along. So in case someone adds a new piece of content and forgets to put the alt text in, this will go back and make sure it's done straight away. And again, it does it in 130 languages, which is great to see as well. Another way, of course, is within ChatGPT. So here's a fake image I've uploaded earlier, of course, and I put in the prompt, write an accessible alt text for screen readers, UK English and under 140 characters, and give me back a good alt text here. And I did try and make my prompt a wee bit smarter, putting in exactly what I wanted, and it gave me back very similar content. It didn't really improve it that much. So again, just shows you that the AI tools are getting so smart now that the advanced prompt and the small prompts isn't needed as much as it used to be, which again is great. So that's a good way to do that. So again, we've got the manual option where we can go and do image by image, or we've got the automatic option with software, the third-party providers, or we can go and, as I say, alt text is one that gives you 25 images for free, or look at your own platform and see what options they have, which is a really good one. And again, no matter what platform you're on, I suspect that they will have this or be working on it. It'll be something that will be rolled out very soon. So it's another thing done. So that's images taken care of or looked at. Another thing we need to look at is the content. And this then, not just a website, but also think of your digital marketing. So your social media posts, any material that you're printing out. This is going broader than just a website, and we're thinking of accessibility. So the content has to be easily read by the individual. So, and this is incredibly, this is related to SEO and rankings as well. So what you'll find is that if content is too complex for most people to understand and for most people to read, then it tends to perform worse in the search engines because people spend less time on it. They don't get it, don't understand it, don't enjoy reading it, and they leave the website, and that sends a negative signal to the search engines. Unless obviously if it's talking about nuclear science and nuclear fusion, then that's a different thing altogether. So the Hemingway app is something that we would use, and again, you can open this here and you can use this again for free. You can sign up you can do some quick tests for free. You can sign up for a 2-week plan, totally free as well. And again, with this, what we'd be suggesting is you try your homepage, your Why Visit Us page. So there's a couple of key pages that you put into this. And when you put this, copy and paste your content in, and it basically grades your content. And it uses at the moment a US grading system, but again, you'll be able to follow that. So grade 7 or 8 is roughly around the age of 12 or 13. And that's the level that WCAG recommends for content that needs to be widely understood. So, and that you find that is a level that most national newspapers, now again, we get in debate with newspapers. Now, some of them would write a wee bit higher than that, of course, because again, they're targeting maybe a slightly different demographic, but most national newspapers would write at a level that most 12 to 13-year-olds could read and understand that content. And that's what we need to do for our content. So it's not about dumbing down our content. It's about being clear, short sentences, common words, active voice. And we have to think as well in hospitality and tourism that people are probably looking at our site and English is a second language, or someone's scanning their mobile phone and they're just skipping over. I'd be looking at things without my glasses and I'd be guessing. I'd be looking for the couple of words, have to find my glasses. So again, back to those elderly people like myself. So you just have to think of your target audience. Of course, there's a core who no problem, but it's the bigger piece that probably have a problem. That's where the opportunity is. Again, accessibility is it's an opportunity for us to generate more business. So it's a good investment all around. So the way Hemingway works, and again, there's other apps that do this as well. This is just an example, one that you can go and test, is that it highlights in red if a sentence is too complex, and it will make suggestions on how you improve it. Yellow is it's hard to read, but not the end of the world. It's not awful, so it's okay. And it does highlight some alternatives that it could change. So the pages that we'd recommend that you look at this in particular is definitely your homepage. And to be honest, like we found at our homepage, again, we're looking for some technical words and keywords, and we've a wee bit of a fight with, say, the Hemingway app, because again, we want those keywords in, but our readability scores starting to decline. So it's getting that sweet spot between them. But think about your homepage, your Why Visit Us, how to get to your location. Again, all of those people are probably booking. How can you really help them? what's the page that are most valuable to them, and it's probably the instructions on getting to your destination. Your accessibility information page, you see, it's quite small, make it easy for people to read. Anyone that's on that, it's going to be important to them. And of course, the key pages, which are your booking pages, your payment pages, your cancellation, any terms, conditions, they're going to be very important for you to have as well. So do include them too. Another tool, and again, the link is in the document, is the WebFX readability tool. And in this, you can put in a URL. So again, I'm just going to grab a blog post here, and it will basically grade that page for you. So again, just pull in one now, and it will, you'll see how quickly this is. So paste that in, there we go. And it's going to give us a score in different areas. So put in the URL, it gives us a score out of 100, and it'll give us suggestions. It'll show the original text and then what could be improved. So again, so this one here, wow, okay, so this is really, we're going to have to do a wee bit of work in this one. And again, it doesn't like this at all. So again, I know what's happened here is, again, our writers got a wee bit carried away with the keywords, and we need to get that balance. So it's probably too much keywords, and we could have used simpler English as well. So again, come down here, let's have a look at some of this. So it's pulled in a little bit of side. It's put not so bad. It's pulled in some content from the sidebar, so that's okay. But if we look at this, so Belfast Business Community, so the Belfast Business Community is sort of as saying Belfast business community has undergone a significant transformation over the past decade. So again, yeah, you can see it's got the original text and what could be improved, and again, it's given us that. So that's great. So we can see, you can see when you read it, it probably becomes obvious that this probably just reads better, reads easier. And of course, it just means that more people would probably enjoy reading the content as opposed to maybe skipping through it. So definitely something to look at. So I'm going to keep that page open and go back. That makes me think of another feature, again, back to this color contrast here on this here. So color, very important. Again, I was looking at a very popular hospitality business, and they had a video playing in the background of their hero. So we all love our really fancy hero images, and then we've text overlaid on top of it, and again, it looks beautiful. But the problem was the text was white, and then the elements of the video, I think it was people running behind it, kids, and then they had a waterfall. And what happened was that the white text on the background for me, it was very hard to read, especially on mobile. So again, I couldn't see it. So again, anyone with any visual impairment has no chance. So again, very important that we consider this. And again, back to best practice, and that's where you'd use this to do that. And that's probably one of the most common problems we would see in tourism websites. You got this beautiful photography, and you've got text on top of it, but it's nearly invisible. To even myself, never mind someone with reduced vision. And again, the fix is super simple. It's just to have a dark overlay behind the text, or use a solid background color, or move the text to a different area within the image, or maybe it comes off altogether. So again, important things to consider. We didn't talk about video. So video accessibility, we need captions or subtitles. And again, these now tend to be auto-generated, and they would be basically text versions of the spoken word on the screen, and that's essential for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. And you tend to get transcripts of a full version of everything that's said. Again, if you think of YouTube, you can go into YouTube as one of the second biggest platform, video search engine in the world. You can go in, and I think word is that's being replaced by Instagram. So YouTube might be the third biggest, Instagram might be the second biggest search engine in the world. So it's getting interesting on social. But if you go into YouTube and look at the video, you've got the little wrench on the right hand side, and you can switch on your captions or subtitles, and then underneath the video you've got your transcript as well. Now, the only thing with that is that if you don't go back and update them, sometimes our accents and maybe place names and names can be spelt wrong. So again, if you have your own videos and you put them on the website or using them in digital marketing, it'd be great just to check that. Let the AI do its job, but do check them. Again, we talked about Descript before. It's very good for generating and editing captions on a video. So again, if you need software to do that. YouTube, again, we would cheat sometimes. We'd upload a video into YouTube, keep it private, get the captions from it, and that's how we used to do before it was easier to get these AI tools. So that was a wee hack that we had. But again, yeah, so as a minimum, you want your accurate captions, and again, you can go to YouTube and get them, and then use them within the video. PDFs, another one to talk about. So we've got menus, maps, programs, pricing sheets, booking, confirmations. So if PDF is created from a scan, then it's just an image, and the screen reader can't read that at all. So what you can do again is, if you have any PDFs on your website, if you can open it and try and select a little bit of text on the screen, if you can highlight individual words, then the text is live and the screen reader can probably read that. But if you can't select text, then it's behaving like a picture, and it does need to be recreated, sadly. Now, you can run PDFs through an OCR, and that's you'll see that in most PDF editing software, where you can make text readable. And another option maybe is to import PDFs as HTML, so you can have a version of the PDF in code, and that would get you through that as well. So just jumping on to the next point then, is some software that we would use a lot is Screaming Frog, to do a full audit of your website. So again, it's a really good tool to download. It's free for up to a website up to 500 pages, and it will do a full audit of your website, not just accessibility, but it does focus on accessibility and includes a lot of key elements in that. So again, so if you've got a website under 500 pages, then it will audit that for you. So you just download the software, sign up, and enter your URL, and it'll run and audit the site. Or if you have a bigger site, then you do need a paid subscription. It'll stop at 500, but it does give you a big file of things to fix on your site. Now, again, I'm not a techie, so I wouldn't understand them. So you take that file and upload it into ChatGPT, and basically then take that and ask it some questions. Ask it what it means in plain English. That's what you want to do, to make sure you get that right. So again, just jumping into, we want to jump into ChatGPT, and again here I want to ask it a question. Good old chat. So I'm gonna see if I can go new chat. So this, just to show you this, so I need a prompt to ask a ChatGPT agent to run a full on my website. So basically, no lazy prompt on this, but we can do lazy prompts. But this instance, I would ask it to give me a full prompt. So basically, as ever, our hack, and what we always do in this webinar, is we always ask the AI to give us our prompt. So I'm asking ChatGPT to give me a prompt to run a full accessibility audit on my website, and here's coming back with the prompt. And what I'm going to do now is take this prompt in a second and ask it to run that full accessibility audit. So we've looked at all of these tools, and again in the sheet we've got some enterprise level tools that are a different level and scan your site and do everything around accessibility. Incredible products, but obviously they do come at a cost. And we've looked at loads of different tools and products that you can use to do different elements of that and do a manual audit. But you can actually have a ChatGPT agent do that as well for you. So again, just when it's taken its time, just go in here, and one I ran earlier in case it didn't work, but I can run or show that as well. So there we go. So nearly done. Now I'm just going to copy this and paste it in here, and just go down. Great. I'm just going to take a site, and site. There we go. And I'm just going to copy in the URL. Where does it say guest URL? There we go. Great. And then all we're going to do here is I'm going to go down here on ChatGPT, and this works in free and paid, is in an ordinary chat box. I'm going to hit the plus and go to agent mode, and I'm just going to let it run. So what it's going to do now is open like a desktop view here, and basically come back and start. It'll show us what it's doing. So it's going to talk us through the process and everything it's going to do for us. So there we go. So there's our desktop open now, and it's going ahead and I'm going to do the full audit. So it's popping up here. I did expect it to go and actually read, what was the, what's included in the audit. It's went to 2.1, so that's interesting there. So actually we want to go for 2.0. we want to go for 2.2, not 2.1. So just watch that in the AI tools. So we want back to checking these tools, 2.2. And the good thing is when this finishes, it doesn't cost any extra credit to run this or ask a follow-up question. So I just let it run and then I'll ask it. So it's going in and understanding all these criteria. I'm not going to stop it. I'm just going to let it run the whole way through. And then when I've got my full audit outcome, then I will look at that. And again, I'll make some decisions on what is a good change to make today, and then what I would put in a list for continuous change in the weeks and months ahead to try and get my website up to gold standard in accessibility. But obviously, if there's any major issues or concerns that would be damaging the site and also damaging a ranking, then I would prioritize them. And the good thing is you can ask it follow-up questions, what would be the priority, and you can ask it then to build out a plan for you to implement that as you go forward. So as that's running, and we'll come back and check it in a few minutes and see what our report is, if we're still here. Just to highlight one other thing when we talk about language. So, and we've mentioned this already. So obviously visitors, a high percentage of visitors to our services or products or what we're offering may not be native speakers. So language, again, when we're trying to improve language, it might not just be making it easier for everyone to be inclusive and make it easy for everyone to read our pages, but it also could be looking at translations for other markets. So again, this is where the accessibility seeps into other areas within the business again. So yes, there's two ways we could talk about languages. One is to simplify our own content, and then the second, it might make business sense to have translated pages on our website for those people who can't easily access or understand English. So if we were doing something like that, then what we could do again is build a cluster of those pages on our website. That would be a cluster, maybe 5 to 10 pages. We've seen websites that have created and built out full language areas across a site, and it wasn't managed and kept up to date, and then over time sadly it became a problem. So that's not what you want to do within your own business. What we're saying or suggesting, if this was relevant for you and if you did have demand, so if you had loads of clients coming from Japan or from France or from Germany, then maybe you would decide, okay, to better serve them, to be more inclusive, and maybe even to generate more leads and sales from that area, I might add a foreign language to my website, which again was super hard to do three years ago, but today it's actually quite easy. So what we do is we focus on a couple of key pages that we consider. The content on our homepage would be great to replicate, obviously. The key pages, like if it's a room or experience, those pages again would be great to build out. The travel, how to get here, the contact forms, your accessibility page again, of course, our big focus for today, and any policies around cancellations, deposits, terms and conditions, you want to translate them as well, just to be totally transparent with the guest as well. And we build that as a cluster. So you don't want to build one page, you want to have a group of pages all interlinked together, a little area of the website that you can send people to, or maybe they'll find it themselves. But again, if you've got a group coming in from Japan, you've got 10 pages of Japanese content in your site, all about your local area and what you do and the terms and conditions, that'd be great to share with them so they can go through it and understand all about the business and the service before they arrive. Just a couple of things to note on this is always structure the website. So one thing with AI now, we can create this draft of foreign language content, but you also need to ensure that you set that up correctly on your website. So for example, we need this little setup. So for example, if you've got French content, you want that, the /FR/, so for France. And what that does, it groups your French content together on the site, but also tells the search engine this content is dedicated to French speakers and it's not to be mixed up or to compete with the English content. And then that has a chance of being surfaced in the search engines in those French speaking areas. So if someone has their browser set to French, then this content will be likely to be served, as opposed to maybe your English content going through Google Translate. So that's where the win is there. So you have an opportunity to rank and be seen in that country or that area. Again, with these markers, you're really signaling to the search engines, the AI engines, that this content is that language for that region. And again, we've got a wee bit of a guide on how to do that. So it's basically a subfolder on your website. So again, AI is great for the first draft of that international language, but it's always good to get a person to read over it and then obviously properly add it to your website. Now you can go for gold standard again, another step up, and look back at some of the other content we've done on the webinars and consider a HeyGen video where you're talking face to camera. And again, it does have over 170 languages. So you can record yourself talking face to camera and then upload it and have yourself welcoming the guests. Or again, you've got the thousands of avatars in here that you can select and have them talk in their local language. So again, there's no problem adding new rich media and using AI to help with that. And the voices in this now are incredible. It will take your voice and make it very similar to what you're saying. And of course, we've got the other favorite if you prefer 11 Labs to clone your voice as well. So a couple of good options on that and something else to consider. Just to jump back here and see if this is run. It's still going and checking all of our pages to give us a full audit. Great, so it's just finished. So again, you can see the detail that's went into here. It's again, I need to ask it now to move to 2.2, not 2.1. Again, just to make sure that we're good gold standard, but you can see the detail that it has already pulled out for us to go and check. And what I would do, download this and send this to our web developer. Just to wrap up again, is that what you can do is run these checks now using these tools that we've looked at today. And again, any fixes that you see that can be done, prioritize obviously those key pages that people will be visiting. You want to get your accessibility report onto the website. And again, just to say that you're working, you have a plan and that you're working towards things, which is really good. You want to keep your language in your digital marketing and your website and any digital collateral. Think of a 12-year-old to make sure that anyone, especially those who don't speak English, can read it at ease. Those who read English as a second language, just to give them the best chance. We've got the option of where we integrate AI in to help us fix some of these problems or opportunities around our business. Again, back to the image alt text across all of our images on the website. We've mentioned the statement already, standalone page or into our terms and conditions. And again, as your prompt, so think if you are using AI, have you a prompt for social media, have you a prompt for creating content for your email campaigns, then have you mentioned accessibility in that prompt? Have you mentioned, again, back to the reading level? So there are two things that you could update in your prompt today to ensure that you're trying to be more inclusive with all of your marketing and collateral that you're producing as of today. And just to close off, again, don't forget about going through the course in the AI Tourism, My Tourism NI website. If you have already, then great. And of course, always happy to get any feedback or thoughts for any areas that you'd like to focus on in the near future.
Perfect. Thanks very much. We'll also send out a short evaluation form by email as well, along with a recording link. So it's your chance to tell us how useful today's session was. Okay, so let's get straight into the questions then, Kieran. So the first one that came through, it maybe isn't directly related to the accessibility angle, but maybe you can answer it. So in terms of visitor attractions and activations using AI, how is it currently shaping the tourism industry?
No, great. And apologies everyone for the frog in my throat earlier, so the joys. I would say, again, the biggest changes are definitely still in the marketing operations. So again, if the internal teams are using the marketing operations, then brilliant. That's internally in the business. Probably externally, the biggest change is how people are planning their trips and discovering attractions and things to do, how they're building out those personal plans on what to visit and what to do. So again, are you appearing in those AI searches, the AI overviews? That's probably two things. What we'd see as well, then maybe on site, you're starting to see maybe more voice assistants, so AI chatbots coming in and definitely been located in some sites. Some I've seen articles where some zoos and museums and theme parks are using AI engines to recommend a personal route for people to get around the site. As well, and then obviously we've got now more interactive exhibitions. So when people arrive, then you've got depending on what people are doing, if you're gesturing or the interaction is different. So again, people or organizations are implementing AI at different sites or different locations to have a more interactive experience. So definitely there's a few areas that's happening. So internally in the organization, in the experiences themselves, and then how customers are finding it. And we have to remember that tourism, of the nearly 1 billion, say, ChatGPT users alone, tourism is the #1 sector that customers are using to plan, the #1 industry to plan holidays. So that's an interesting stat to remember.
Brilliant. I know even when I'm planning trips and things, it would be, ChatGPT I would put in just to, give them recommendations rather than putting the time in myself, I guess. But no, that's brilliant. So another question for businesses just starting out, what's the single quickest AI-driven change they could make today to improve accessibility on their website?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would look, make sure you have the accessibility policy on the website, and then I would look at the images. I think images are massive. Obviously text is a wee bit harder, but images are incredibly important. So if you can reach out to your platform and see if they have an option, and maybe depending on who you're using, if it's WordPress, you've got loads of options, and even that all text AI platform. You can do it manually if you have a smaller site, but obviously great if you have a big site. For a few $100s, you can do a whole site and be at ease that it's done. But also there's a marketing SEO benefit for that as well. So it's a double win.
Brilliant. Okay. And another question that's come in is, with AI and technology evolving rapidly, what's your most valuable advice for staying ahead of the curve and maintaining strong searching rankings on Google?
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, so the core update, as we mentioned, is coming up, and that's going to have a major impact. Fresh content on your website. So again, use this webinars. Again, going back over some of your key pages on your website. What's your 10 most traffic pages, and use the AI tools and put in your accessibility prompt in that as well, and just see if you can improve those pages. So update fresh content on your website, your key pages. Understand what are your most important pages. I would definitely consider a technical audit on your website. Make sure that there's no performance issues. So again, you could use Screaming Frog for that. As I say, it's free for up to 500, or there's loads of other platforms you may already use it. So update your content on your own website and check that there's no technical issues on the website. They'll be the two quick wins before the March core update, which will regrade every website in the world. So it's an exciting one. It's a nervous one for us, but it's an exciting one as well.
Okay, brilliant. Another question is, if you had a simple 30-day accessibility action plan for tourism businesses, what would the top 3 steps be?
Oh yeah, no, good. Do you know what? I'd cheat and I'd ask ChatGPT to create that. So no, it's a really good question. So again, you can use agents on the free plan. So I would go in and put in your online properties for that, so your website or any other properties, and ask it to build out your plan. Get the report, and then I would tell it what you've done so far, and ask it then to come back. I'd be cheating. Ask it to come back with your 30-day plan and list them in the priorities of your budget, time, impact on your business, but also the visitor. So I would use the AI tools for that, definitely, and start with the agent and get that report. And then maybe you could set up an accessibility project within your AI tool, and that would be a really good way to start, I think.
Okay, perfect. And I think we've one more, unless anybody has any other questions, just pop them in the box. But the last one at the moment is, what's one accessibility improvement do you think will become non-negotiable for tourism websites in the next year or two?
Oh, yeah, probably again performance. Performance is a big one, yeah, because what's happening is the search engines and the AI engines are spending less time crawling sites. So if the site performs poorly and isn't optimized for multiple devices and people can't click through it with ease, then that's going to be a major problem. So I would say, yeah, and I think it already is. But we're seeing notes coming out from Google ahead of the updates this year that they're really focused on their costs and the cost of retrieval of basically reading a website. So again, yeah, it's probably the technical load time of your website. And you go to a website, a platform called gtmetrix.com, and it will run an audit on your website performance and speed for free, and you can check that. But I'd say that's going to impact, again, all of these. It's really interesting. All these departments are merging, or there's impact across all. So accessibility impacts so many departments across a business. But yeah, the lines are getting more blurred as we move forward.
Okay, perfect. I know even for myself, if I'm on a website and it's maybe not, accessible or easy to use, you very quickly kind of turn off or move on to another one to look at. So, but I think that's all the questions we have for today. So thanks very much, Kieran. Just to let everybody know as well, there is a full suite of AI modules on my Tourism NI e-learning platform. So if you haven't used this yet, I'd really recommend going on, signing up and taking a look at what's there. So there's some really useful topics on it. So all remains is for me to say thanks very much, Kieran, for taking us through all those wonderful AI. And thanks for everybody joining the session today. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully look forward to welcoming you to many more Tourism NI webinars and events soon. So thanks very much and have a wonderful day.